what's happening, everyone? Welcome to Newman's State of Mind. Today I'm going to talk about community grants because I know a lot of you out there at the moment. I mean, we're all aware we've had austerity measures in place since the Tory government came in, 2009, when the coalition came in at first. We had a lot of cuts to services, health, public health, education, everything, youth clubs, complete wipeout. In the early days, it was the localism bill. I don't know if you all remember that. David Cameron was talking about the big society and talking about localism, everybody coming together, pooling your resources and taking more accountability and more responsibility for what goes on in your local area. Very good idea. It's not original. Very good in theory, but you need resources to make this happen. Whether you come up with your own resources, it could be your own funds you make from employment or fundraising. But the point is, a lot of the challenges that are in the community is what David Cameron was talking about all that time ago. Majority of those things were put in place due to them cutting particular services and moving funding elsewhere. Fast forward to now, we have food banks, we have increases in situations where people have mental health issues and it's hard for them to receive support. We have an increase in isolation. We have an increase in older people feeling very vulnerable and being left alone and with no support and no help. We have young people suffering, in terms of not having enough services to connect to. So not necessarily saying youth clubs were cut, and I believe youth clubs can play a very fundamental part in helping support those young people who need support. But I wouldn't say necessarily they're the be all and end all. I would more prefer to see funding for young people funneled into different areas and they can access multiple resources, not just a youth club. So we've had cuts to the youth service. NHS has been cut, as I said. It's just, it's crazy. And in my previous post where I was talking about inequalities in society, I was talking about knife crime in the last one that I put up, the last episode. Part of the solution to that, what I was saying, was that we need financial solutions, to help support people in the community who are worse off than maybe we are. So community grants can play a very, very big part in getting things either started or helping to build on previous work that has been done in particular communities. It's a subject that I know quite a lot about. I used to work for the Big Lottery Fund way back, but I took all that learning and I used that in future organisations that I worked with as well. So I'm very good at bid writing. If I do say so myself, I'm not gonna be modest about that. I am good at writing bids, and I have been very successful in writing bids. And one of the key things I have learned about getting external funding through grants programs is knowing where to find them. I'm lucky. I sort of had the experience of working with the Big Lottery Fund, and that gave me the insight of where you look, where we advertised at that time as well, where funding was available. But a lot of you out there don't know where to find these grants programs, and also have problems with the applications as well, like knowing which one is relevant to what you're applying for. So without further ado, let me not waffle on too much, because I know really you're just here for the juicy bit. You want to know what funding is out there in the moment. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this a regular thing for the channel as well. What I'm going to do is focus on maybe 3 or 4, and ones that they're going to be sort of different levels of application. So some will be really easy to apply for, in the sense of like the application process isn't too heavy, and then there's others where obviously the more you're applying for is going to be a bit more in depth, and you're going to really have to focus on what you're trying to do. So without further ado, let's go to the first one. So the first one I'm going to go to is the Greggs Foundation. Now I know a lot of you must know who Greggs are. Greggs, the sandwich shop. You find them on a lot of high streets all over the place. So they're UK wide. Greggs, they do a good donut in there. Anyway, forget that. I'm digressing. I keep doing that. Sorry, forget the donut talk. Right. So right now they've got a local community projects fund at the moment. Okay. And it's a small grants program, and you can apply for up to £2,000 at a time. It's to help non-for-profit organisations to do either one-off events or something that, like a pilot program. If you're trying to test a project, in an area and see, does this work? Is this something that we should invest in? This is where this type of funding program would help you. Okay, so let me go through the criteria. Okay, let me go through it a little bit, and so I'm gonna do this as I'm going along. Okay, so let's look at what type of projects they're looking to support. So we're looking at disability groups or projects for people that have a physical disability or mental health difficulties, people that are living in poverty. So when we say people that are living in poverty, we're talking about statistically disadvantaged areas. So places where there's a lack of resources, there's barriers to education and housing and training and employment, and there is a lack of opportunity for those people to progress in their daily lives. People that are probably accessing food banks. Again, so this is the kind of target audience this funding pot is looking at. Voluntary carers, people that are caring for people as well. This pot is for you guys. Homeless people. So if you're working with homeless people or providing support to homeless people, again, this is a funding stream that you can access, you can tap into. Isolated older people. Now I was talking about that earlier. What I'm saying is there's a lot of older people who are in the community and maybe their families moved away, or maybe they didn't even have kids, and for whatever reason they are in a situation where they're by themselves and they're not really in contact with a lot of people, they're not accessing services. Basically they're cut off from a lot of things. Again, this is the type of funding stream you may want to tap into if you like to create a project that helps to bring those people out. And basically any other thing that helps disadvantaged people. So again, it's a small scale in terms of the funding that's available, but there's a lot of work you can do with this money in terms of kickstarting a project and piloting your ideas to see what will help. So, like I said, you've got up to £2,000 you can apply for. What I would say, and I'm going to say this with all of the funding programs that I tell you about today, and I'm going to try and do it as quick as I can because I don't want to take up too much time because the closing dates for these are, they're coming up for a lot of them. So I want you to get this information, process, the guidance, everything else, and get your applications in. This money is here for you to access. So let's do it. So yeah, as I was saying, things that they won't fund ongoing running costs. So if you're already running a project, you can't use this to keep something going. It has to be a new project. It has to be something that's starting up. You can be a bit clever with it and say to yourself, well, I might want to do an extension of a project that I'm working on already, but you have to show that it's definitely not the same thing. You have to show that it's a totally different. It could be the same service you're running, but for a different audience. You could even do it like that, but it has to be a different project in name and in functionality to an extent. So you need to remember that. Sports clubs are not really, they're looking to be excluded from this program. Research grants, friends of associations. So again, no friends of. There's lots of friends of groups that sometimes apply for funding for people to do stuff. So they'll be excluded from this programs. Animal charities, religious promotion. So nothing that, promotes a particular religion. Those programs won't be considered. I think it's important I go through these because a lot of the time people go for programs that are not relevant to what they're trying to do. So it's better to get that out of the way. Medical equipment, sponsorship of events and activities. So any of those things will not be considered by the Greggs Foundation. But all the other stuff I said to you before, those are the kind of things. Isolation, working with older people, these are the things that you can do. I'm going to leave a link at the bottom so that you can access the guidance notes, because what I would say to you is when you are applying, you need to make sure that you are hitting the parameters that are inside the guidance notes. You need to, there's key performance indicators that will be in there that the funder is going to be looking for. When they're assessing the grant, they're going to be looking for these particular things. And you're going to have a much more better success rate if you are hitting those targets on there. You have to be strategic with how you're doing it. There's going to be a lot of people applying for this program. I'm looking on the website right now. It's saying it's oversubscribed as it is. There's a 27% success rate that they've said on here. So it's competitive. You need to make sure your applications are on point, to be honest. But I always say this. I mean, my success rate with applications is really high. I don't hardly ever put in an application for a program and don't get it. And I'm not boasting. I'm being real. If you, I won't be able to show you my track record, but maybe in the comments, if you want to find out more of what I've worked on, just drop me a comment below. But I normally get the money that I ask for when I put in an application, and that is mainly because I do my research and I look at the guidance criteria very, very carefully before I make the application. So for this one here, even though it's only £2,000, I would say make sure I've checked the application form, and it's quite it's not a long rigorous form, but it's very concise. So sometimes that's even more difficult. It's very concise. You need to get in there and say, look, I'm doing this, this, and this. It costs this. Bam, that's it. Yeah, you need to nail it. Now, we've got until the 22nd of June to get your applications in, right? Midnight, 22nd of June, get the application in, right? The links are going to be in the description, the episode description. So just get cracking onto this application. You can expect a decision within 8 weeks of the closing date. And what I would say to you is give them a call. Yeah, give the foundation a call. Speak to one of the officers there. And as you're going through your application, just ask some questions. Ask questions all the way through, so that they know that something's coming from you. And trust me, it's valuable to do that. Make sure you do that. Yeah, make contact with the funder, and yeah, just any questions you have. Don't put it in and then think afterwards, because that could be the difference between you getting a successful application or not. So that's my advice with that one. So 22nd of June for this one. Make sure you put it in, and yeah, it's like I said, it's money that's there. It's available. A lot of people say there's not money out there. There is money out there. You just got to know where to find it. So that's the Greg's Foundation, and now I'm going to put the link below. Click on it. Throw those applications in. Let me know how you're getting on with your application. Let me know if you put one in. Just drop me a comment and say applied or something like that. Just so I can keep track, because I want to know that I'm putting out the right material for you guys, yeah? So that's the Greg's Foundation. Okay, the second one. This one is from the Young Londoners Fund. Okay, so if you go on the Mayor of London's website, you'll see that there's a number of different grants programs on there. This one in particular, is the Young London inspired multi-year grants, right? So they're offering between £10,000 and £30,000 per year for up to 3 years. Okay, so again, and I know it might sound crazy. £30,000 is not a tremendous amount of money in terms of sustainability. If you're looking at doing something that's going to go over a long period of time, this is not going to pay for all of that, but it can give you a good foundation. Yeah, most of these grants programs that I'll put your way and that you come across anyway, they're a foundation for these projects. And I think when you apply to them, I think that's the mentality you have to adopt to when you're going for these grants. You can't rely on grants to be the be all and end all for whatever work you're trying to do, and you shouldn't really be trying to create things based on grant funding anyway. You should be looking at sustainability. You should be looking at, this is just a kickstart. How am I going to finance this myself? Because I think in terms of social mobility, the getting away from the culture of relying on the council or the government to do things for the local people, it's a bad idea. You know, it's something that doesn't work, and we have to step away from that. So again, this grant program, use it with the mentality of a kickstart, you know, and getting the infrastructure put in place. Always have your year 2 and 3 should always be about transitioning to sustainability. So this fund here, now they're focusing on volunteering and social action, such as sports, arts, media, environment, intergenerational or music projects. And this is targeted at young people between the ages of 10 and 20. So if you're an organization and you work with these kids, young people, I say kids. I know we have to say young people, but I still see them as kids. But anyway, for this exercise, I'll keep calling them young people. So if you work with this group of people, this will apply to you. Now, what you have to do in terms of your project needs to show that volunteering and social action is the key part of this. We're mobilizing young people to participate in their community and do something to move things forward, take themselves out of poverty, you know, empower those who are around them. You know, the project you do also has to demonstrate how the volunteering is impacting on the young people's well-being and emotional resilience, you know. And I'm assuming emotional resilience is basically how are they going to cope, you know, at certain stages, you know, or if they're dealing with particular trauma, how is this project helping to improve their mental health and well-being? So if you're working with young people and you fit into this category, this fund is for you, or at least take a look at it. If it doesn't apply, maybe it can still point you in the right direction, or it might make you reconsider your program and think, well, actually, we're not doing that bit, so maybe we should apply to this program. So again, the link for this, yeah, I'm going to put the link on the screen, the website, that should come up on the screen. But also, I'm going to put all the links, like I said in the last segment, all of the links are going to be in the description, the video description. You've got to take advantage of these grants programs. Yeah, this is money. I don't want to ever say it's free money. I just want to say it's money that you have put into the system. It's your taxes, right, that have been regurgitated back out into these grants programs, and it's for you to access to go and make certain things happen in the community where people are struggling. This looks like a really, really good program. The cut-off date for this one, okay, the closing date is Monday, 9th of July, midday. So make sure you put that in your calendar. Make sure you do a reminder like 2 weeks before, and then you have it there. Don't send your application in on the 9th. Whatever you're doing, don't send your application in on the 9th. Have it ready and prepared before that. Again, if you want some more information about how to maybe compile it, put your thing together, your application together, message me in the comment section. I'll try and help you best I can. I write bids, like I keep saying to you. You can always try and tap into my expertise if you want. Again, message me and we can talk about that. I can try and help you put this together. What I will say, this particular fund, because of the amount, it's a little bit more. It's not the £2,000 from the Greggs Foundation. This is like up to £30,000. I would say get some partners involved. Like, don't try and do this solo. So if you're working in a particular area, contact the local council, contact the local housing associations, contact any local partners, youth service especially. If you're not a youth provider, in terms of you're not the youth service, contact the youth service and speak to them about their young people. Speak to them about what funds they may have available to add as match funding. Yeah, that's key. Yeah, make sure you do that. Because partnership, one secret, or should I say gem of knowledge, partnership bids will carry more weight in the sense of sustainability. It's looking more robust. It's looking like you've thought about the project. It's showing that you're trying to make sure the young people are connected to the local services that are around. So make sure you get as many, but don't do this in isolation. I'll say that to anybody for any application you put in. Do not do it in isolation. Get the police involved, speak to the fire brigade, you know, see where their objectives marry into what you're trying to do. And that is going to support your bid. It's going to give you strength. It's going to make it robust. So remember that. So yeah, the link will be down there. Cut-off date is the 9th of July, and that is the Young London Inspired Multi-Year Grants Programme, part of the Young Londoners Fund. So if you're in London, go for it. Yeah, it's big. That's what I would do. So the next one now that we're going to look at, and again, it's southeast, and I'm sorry about you guys in the north. Yeah, anyone that's watching in the northeast or northwest or the Midlands at the moment, I haven't got to those ones yet. I'm going to get to those, and I'll do another post. This is the first one. So like I say to you, my channel's raw. I'm picking up what's coming to me right now, and I'm just putting out what I can see. Right now, it seems there's a lot of southern-based grants programs that are open at the moment. So this one here, and this is for people particularly now in the Kingston area, in the southeast. So this is the Lowell Giving Community Fund, okay? Lowell Giving Community Fund. This one now is targeted at projects, right? The project themes: education and skills training, employability, financial inclusion, financial literacy. So if you are working on projects in this particular area that comes over into these themes, this might be one you want to have a look at, okay? Maximum grant you can get for this one is £20,000, okay? So again, what I'm going to keep saying this over and over again, it's not about this being the be all and end all. It's about kickstarting your projects, okay? Kickstarting and moving, you know, towards sustainability and thinking about how you're going to self-fund it, okay? But this is a good start for you. This is a good start. So you can apply for grants in between 1,000 and 20,000, okay? You have to meet that criteria. The eligibility for this one is literally, you've just got to be doing projects that are operating in the Kingston upon Thames area. So what I'm saying to you is, even if you're not from the area, but you're planning to do some work in there, or you know, you have an interest in helping people in deprived areas, and you're in that region of the country, maybe you might want to pilot something there. You know, you might want to pilot something there and see how it works, and then you could even lift that program up and put it somewhere else. You know, you can be clever with how you apply for these grants sometimes. Sometimes it's good to expand your network out if you've got the resources to do it, and go into new areas and face new challenges and build new partnerships. You don't know how the dynamics can change. So I would say, if you're in that part of town and you wanna kickstart a project, look at the link. I'm gonna put the link below. And like I said, the guidance notes. Now there's guidance notes on here. Again, read the guidance notes. I'm gonna keep saying stuff. I'm trying to make this so user friendly, you know, that you know the information is just there. You access it. Everything is here for you to be successful in applying for these grants. Okay, so I'll put all of these links up, and so you can just scroll down in the description and you'll see it. Make sure you read the funding guidance, follow the funding guidance, and contact the provider, the grant provider. Contact them, build that relationship. You know, ask the questions that need to be asked. Could be about your eligibility and your status, and make sure that you put the application in days before the cutoff date. Just don't wait until the day itself. Your laptop, you know, your internet connection could be gone. You know, you could have a technical fault with your laptop or your computer. The website could crash. The actual website for the grant giver could crash. Don't leave it to the last minute. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so please take my advice. Don't wait till the last minute and you know, do the application in good enough time. Plan it, prep it, speak to all the partners you need to do, and take it from there. Okay, so that's the Lowell Fund. Yeah, so again, I'll put all the descriptions down below. Just take advantage of it. Okay, now the final one, and it's another London one. Okay, another London one, but this one is fairly straightforward. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. This one is particularly for people who live in northwest London, Wembley area to be exact. Okay, London Borough of Brent. So I found this one. This one, I used to live in this area, so and I was speaking to some people from the area over the weekend. So I'm throwing this one in. It's a bit biased, but so be it. I can do what I want on here. Right. So this fund here is the Wembley Park Community Fund. Okay. So anyone that's from Brent and you're watching the video, I mean, you should be. You should be supporting a brother. But anyway, forget that. Yeah. Anybody that is in this particular area of Brent residents, but it's for the Wembley Park area. So again, okay, maximum grant for this area is for this fund is £10,000. That's the maximum you can get from this pot. Okay, and all the funding themes is basically trying to make Brent a better place to live. Okay, so that's, you know, creating opportunities for supporting education, employment, and good health, connecting local networks, and like I said, just making Brent a better place. Now that sounds quite, you know, generic, but there's a lot you can wrap into that. The cutoff date, I'm whizzing through this one because I'm trying to wrap this up for you guys so you can just get on with it. Okay, I'm whizzing through this one. Applications need to be submitted on the 5th of June at midday. Okay, you can get in between £1,000 and £10,000. Look at the guidance notes. Eligibility is literally, you have to be locally based in the London Borough of Brent and working with Brent residents. Brent is quite a big area, you know, so even if you're in an area that's straddling the Borough of Brent, but you're getting people accessing your service either side of the borough. Do you see what I'm saying? You can still apply, right? Your annual income has to be under 500,000, and yeah, that is it. That's the criteria. Have a look online. I've got the links will be there. Have a look at the funding guidelines. All of the applications I've shown you today, all of the grants programs I've shown you today, all the applications are online applications. There's an online form. If you want a paper form, in paper format, you can obviously call up the funder, but all of it is online. So it's so user friendly. The main thing is nail down what you're trying to do in terms of your concept, your ideas. Impact. Make sure you know who you're impacting, your target audience. Have your numbers right. Make sure you know what your numbers are. If you're targeting 50 young people between the ages of 11 to 14, categorize that, you know, and then if you think that you're only going to get a small amount of 16 to 18 year olds, so it might be just 10 of those, like, do that, but don't inflate your numbers either. Be realistic. Be realistic with what you're trying to do. Yeah, you're only going to shoot yourself in the foot if you are coming out with some absolutely ridiculous numbers. Be realistic with what you're trying to do. What is the phrase? You know, under promise and over deliver. That's what you need to do. Under promise, over deliver. That way you're saying, look, I said I'm going to do this. I've produced that. Maybe if I approach that funder again, they're going to look at me more favorably and be like, you know what, these people deliver. Where if you say, I'm going to get all of this, and you come up here, even your numbers might still be good, because anyone you access is a bonus. But you've said you're going to do that. So now you've made yourself look like you can't deliver. You've underperformed. Don't do that. Yeah, just come up with realistic numbers. Put the quality into what you're trying to do. The quality into the KPIs. Yeah, the key performance indicators. Make sure you got the quality in there. And once you do that, you should be okay. You should be okay, man. And you got to tell the story. You got to tell a story, start to finish. Tell the story. You know, we're going to do this here. We're going to do that here. We're going to get this as the outcome here. Very, very simple. When you're prepping your application, use the STAR. I use the acronym called STAR. I'm going to give this one to you. Yeah, I use STAR. Sounds very cliche, but it helps. I'm telling you, it keeps you on track. So this is what you do, right? Simple way to put your application together, right? STAR. S, situation. So the situation is your concept, your objectives. What are we trying to do here? In the sense of, like, you know, we're helping young people who are tackling, you know, gang violence, right? Let's go there. Gang violence. You're trying to access people who are at the risk or they're involved in gang violence. So that is the concept. You've got the concept there. Now T is the task. So the task is we're gonna set up X amount of sessions in this community center each week to get those young people accessing, you know, services that we'll have there. Okay. So you're gonna have X, Y, and Z. Could be music classes, could be financial training, could be whatever else. So the situation is, you got all these young people that are not accessing services. They're at the risk of violence, X, Y, Z. The task for you is to get them. You're gonna get them into the center so they can access services. Okay, so that's the T, task. What we want to do is this. The A is the action now. How are we gonna do it? How are we doing it? So maybe the action is twice a week we're going to run these sessions. Twice a week we're going to do this, and this with these young people. Our methodology is we'll have music, we'll have like poetry, spoken word, and the next one we'll call in someone from the bank to do financial workshop or something like that. Yeah, I'm being real. I'm skimming through it. I'm just being a bit rough around the edges, but I'm trying to just give you a bit of a flavor of how you can work it. I might actually do a more in-depth video on this. Yeah, I might do that. I might do a more in-depth one over the week or next week. I might do that. Yeah. And then the R now is the result, the outcome. So you might be saying, right, we're going to have 20 young people who are either going to have music qualification at the end, or they're going to have completed the financial education workshops and may have a progression route into doing an apprenticeship at a bank or something like that. Do you see what I'm saying? Obviously that was a bit rough, but I'm just saying to you, you need to tell the story, yeah? And using the STAR, situation, task, action, result. Piece that together. I'm telling you, man, you'll be surprised what you'll come up with. You just got to have some kind of format, of how you're going to put this together. And that's it. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think I'm going to do a separate video just about how to construct a grant application. I think I'm going to do that because I can do that. But this video was literally just as a flag, just to say, yo, look, these grants are coming up. Take a look on the websites. Look at the guidance notes. The closing dates are all coming up, and I feel like it's dead money if you don't go for it. So just get in there, make your applications. Collaborate with people who are connected to what you're trying to do. Collaborate and connect with local partners such as the police, the local council, schools, and make these things happen, right? We know that there's not a lot of money out there from public services being cut, but these grants programs are out there. Let's take advantage of them. Yeah, so that's my video. Rough, raw, saying what's in my head. It's not polished. I'll get better as time goes on. But the most important thing is the information that I'm telling you, and the information that will be in the video description. So just grab onto that. Yeah, and I will see you soon. I'm going to have another video out later on this week with another subject. But I hope you find this one helpful. Comment below. Please subscribe. Support the channel. Yeah, that's it. Peace.